Yeah. Well, nice having you. I'm very happy to welcome you to this set, Zoom set, and to be able to talk a little bit about Shalom Tango, because it's a very nice film, and I was very touched by it, and also very funny, very a lot of humor in it, and I'm gonna let you talk about it. I'm not here to speak about it, but basically, I just wanted you to know that we're very happy with the participation of your film, and I'm very. I think it will touch a lot of people here in Morocco. I don't know if you know, but Morocco has been a land that has always had the different religions in Morocco, mainly monotheist religions, but Jewish religion, Christianity, and Muslim and Islamic religion also. And people lived in peace. Most of the time, they would live in peace among the three religions. So we are, we're a bit used to this kind of situations where you can call it tolerance, but at the same time, sometimes it can get a little edgy. Sometimes because people don't understand each other all the time, and they need to talk. They need to know each other, and it's a process. It's a never-ending process of knowing each other, and so we are very happy to have this film here in Morocco. And I will stop here.
We're very happy to be in your festival.
Yeah, well, thank you.
I don't know if you know much about the production company that Jose and Claudio, the two brothers that are on now, what it's called. But Jose, Claudio, do you want to tell them a little bit about your production company's name?
Sure. The name of our production company is called Convivencia Forever Films, and the name comes from La Convivencia, living together. At this time, just before 1492, when the Muslims, the Jews, and the Christians used to live and work in peace and harmony together. So we formed this company to produce projects like Tango Shalom, which hopefully will spread peace in the world.
Yeah, well, I think it has the potential. It has the right message, and I think it will do very well in those terms. And I hope I'm right.
We will pray.
Yeah. So Yasir is not with us, but we arranged to have him maybe on a different slot so that he could also give us some thoughts about his experience with this movie. But going back to this. This film, or this idea of film, I'd like to know more about how this film emerged. It's always very interesting because it happens in somebody's brain or somebody's heart, and then it starts spreading out. And I'd like to find out how this unfolded.
Well, it starts with the heart, because there's a lot of things happening in this world that we need to adjust. And then the brain comes when I'm around people. And this story happened, I go to the Chabad house on Fridays, and during Purim time, all the rabbis, they start drinking and dancing like crazy. And since I'm a tango dancer, I said to myself, wow, what if one of these rabbis gets a message from Hashem to dance the tango? But why? Why would he want to do that? I said, well, perhaps he's got problems financially or something. So I got the idea. So I started writing a couple of drafts. Then my brother Claudio came in. And then, of course, we had Gabriel Bologna, who came at the end, and he really helped us make a great script and a great film. Thanks to him.
Yeah, well, so that's very interesting. So you you wrote more or less as you wrote the script, that you had a lot of input from I suppose your brother, the community, maybe, and then eventually the word got to Gabriel, or how did it work, all this?
Well, I started writing the draft, and I said I started to make a story about different situations, what could happen to that rabbi in life, because he lives, he's a Hasidic Jew. He can't touch the woman, and he's very religious. He doesn't watch TV, and then how is he going to do this? I really didn't know how this rabbi is going to dance the tango with this beautiful woman. By the way, she is beautiful. Karina Smirnov, great dancer, great actor. And so it was difficult to, and then slowly, then I said to myself, then my brother got involved, and we started writing the script. We had a lot of, sibling rivalry, because I had ideas, she had ideas. We made this very comical. The beginning was too funny, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But then when Joseph came in, Bologna, he came and he made this more like a comedy, but a more serious comedy where people can really connect. And it's not about only a Hasidic Jew. When I had it in mind, it was about any universal man who has this consequence, this environment. What can he do? How can he do to bring people together? So it's a message, universal message that the whole world should know, not just, it's not going to like Jewish people only, it's going to everybody, Muslim, Christians, any human beings.
Yeah. Well, we as I told you, we relate a lot. For example, I'm from a pretty conservative family, and in conservative families, we don't do things that many people do. We're not supposed to do them because we're not like them. We're conservative, and it's always a very big challenge when you are forced into situations that you are not used to, because you don't do them normally, and you have to find your way around. And obviously, in the movie, they found a very nice way around it.
Yeah.
So, but
yeah, we had a lot of obstacles. I mean, not only as a character, but as in the actual film. Gabe, you want to tell us some of our obstacles that we had?
Parking in New York City is perhaps more difficult than anything you will ever experience in life.
It's funny.
Shut down streets,
Because the locations we had very nice locations there, and we saw New York City in a very different way than in most movies we see. We're very used to New York City. Most of the people who watch movies around the world know New York from the movies, and what we see usually is different from what we see this time. We saw these very nice neighborhoods with very very nice architecture. The buildings were different, and it was very, very interesting to see.
Yeah,
this.
We shot a lot in Brooklyn, but also in Astoria, Queens, which incidentally is the most racially, ethnically, and religiously diverse place on earth.
Okay.
And I mean, we've shot everywhere from mosques to a Sikh temple, to synagogues all around there. And what was so exciting was we ended up having, what would you call it? Consultants in every single religion. And we ended up learning things that we never would have learned had we not entered this film. For example, how important music plays in religion, right? The call to prayer that Yassir sings in the film is very, very musical, is a beautiful modality. The Sikh people, they have an 11-piece liturgical band with instruments I've never seen in my life. Things that go like this. It's not an accordion, maybe a harmonium with different drums, and they play that while they pray. you know, and then of course we even got the Vatican choir in the church, and we learned that creativity expresses itself in every culture, in every religion.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think you're right, and I think this way of seeing the world is it opens the eyes of the other. Just the understanding that religion is also feeling that go through music, and go through things we see, and just attitudes. You know, it's when somebody has a good attitude, no matter what religion he's from, you're bound to like him because the attitude is nice. And
yeah, you know, we had a location that Jose and Claudio got for us, and they were speaking in Arabic, and the guy who owned the location was Moroccan. He was Muslim, and he said, "I'm going to give you my location for free because my grandmother was Jewish." And you know, that's New Yorkers for you. New Yorkers are the greatest people you'll ever meet. I mean, when you shoot a movie in Los Angeles or even in the state of California, if you have to lay a cable over someone's lawn, they're going to charge you $10,000. But in New York City, especially in Brooklyn, Queens, people not only gave you their locations for free, but they even fed us. In fact, the priest, I'm not really sure what the holy man is called in the Sikh religion, but the priest there demanded that they feed the crew and the cast, and the people that were kosher were able to eat there because, you know, they're vegetarian.
Yeah, they're vegetarian.
So that's New Yorkers for you, you know. And when you really think about it, you don't really see race riots in New York that you in other places that you may see in other parts of the country, because people have to ride the subway together, take the bus together, brush shoulders with people, you know. And it's such a multicultural place.
Yeah, you're right. When before we started the meeting, Judy said that she might be leaving earlier than the rest of us. So maybe I should give her an opportunity to reflect on her experience in this movie.
Sure. Yeah, I'm on set right now, so we're in the middle of shooting. So I'm in a 1950s period piece right now. So yeah, I loved being in Tango Shalom. I loved being it because of the message of the film, because of the call for acceptance and tolerance and connection among people. And that's kind of what I'm all about, and what I realized I wanted to really be in films and projects and make projects that are, you know, that are conducive to that message of bringing convivencia, bringing people together. And I got involved with the film. I was involved in one of the earlier readings of the project, in a different role at that time, and I just loved it so much. And the woman who was playing my part in the very first reading, I was like, gosh, I know that part. Like, I should be playing that part, because my family, I have some Hasidic in my family, in London, and my grandfather was a cantor. And even though I'm not very religious, I'm very spiritual, and I am all about that, you know, connection with spirit and God. And I really channeled my own experiences into this character, because, you know, she was very different from me. I'm not married, I don't have children, and so in order to play the character, I had to really like learn the intricacies of the community. And I spent a lot of time talking to people in Crown Heights and in Williamsburg, women, so that they could really, they taught me, they showed me what the values, the Jewish values of, and family values, and the traditions and the customs. And I asked a lot of questions while I was doing this in order to really portray Raquel. I play Raquel, the wife of Moshe
Yeah.
in it. So
Yeah, very. Sorry, continue, please. Sorry.
Yeah, I was like, if you don't recognize me now, because I.
No, I did recognize you. No, I did recognize you. In fact, yeah, as it's very subtle, because we have the main story, but we have also this this second plot, basically Moshe's relationship with his wife, and how also she is supporting him, and at the same time she's a bit worried because she's got this this competition coming from this beautiful lady, and then she managed so well, you know, and I recognize there also a lot of wisdom in let's say conservative women, when they don't get necessarily angry, and they find a way to settle things for the best of the family, and basically that's what she did, and I think that helped Moshe at one point. So yeah, I can feel the investment you've done in this character, but I'd like to return to Gabriel, because at one point you read the story, and I suppose you saw the challenge, and you had to direct so many characters in so many different situations with so many different arcs. You know, in this story we have so many very interesting characters. We don't have one or two protagonists and the rest are there just for the, you know, just for the show. No, they you know, most characters have depth, have so I see there a lot of effort in directing, and specifically when it comes also to directing the action, which in this film was mainly dancing, you know. So I'd like you to reflect on that, Gabriel, if you could.
Well, the biggest challenge in casting was to get the role casted for Viviana, the beautiful tango dancer that Rabbi Moshe Yehuda dances with, because we found these fantastic actors who couldn't dance, fantastic dancers who couldn't act. And Lainey Kazan, who's the great actress that was in My Big Fat Greek Wedding, she said to me, hey, I know just the actress for you. Her name is Karina Smirnoff, and she was on Dancing with the Stars. She's a 20-season alumna of that show. And she was fantastic. And this was her first ever acting job in a film, you know, as a lead in a film. And it's a very difficult part because there's all these ranges she has. She has a nervous breakdown, you know, when there's humor and tears in the same scene, it requires such a level of acting, you know. And that was really the challenge for the entire film, because this film is more like an old school comedy, like something you would see, say, in the vein of Mel Brooks, or a lot of the old Italian comedies from the golden era of Italian comedies, where you had a lot of emotion and humor. Now, if you follow the broad comedies now that come out of America, they're not that. They're maybe more episodic, or they're broad strokes, and the characters often don't represent ethnic people, because people who are Greek or Italian or Arab or Jew, you know, they're Mediterranean. They talk with their hands. They could be crying, they could be yelling, they could be laughing, all in the same sentence, you know? And that's what this film is. It's really New York at its rawest, right? You know, I have this belief that the more specific a story is, the wider the appeal. When you water down characters, less people actually viscerally identify with them, right?
Yeah.
But when you make it very specific, and we have some Yiddish words that maybe no one in the world would understand other than Hasidic Jews, but the way they're conveyed, everyone says, that's my uncle, that's my aunt, that's my grandpa, that's my grandma, right? And I'm hoping that there are more movies that show off the gems, the nuances of all ethnic peoples. And by the way, it's a funny word, ethnic, isn't it? Because it's an American film, yet there are more ethnicities in the world than there are Americans, right? But when you hear the word ethnic, all of a sudden, it suddenly gets smaller, right? Like it's put into a little box, right? But the truth is there's more of ethnic people in the world than there are of, say, you know, the generic, the Italian Americans would call them an American, which are, you know, just white Anglo-Saxon Americans, you know? And that's why I think on the world stage, from, you know, film festivals in India to Argentina, you know, people are screening our film.
Exactly, yeah. And as a matter of fact, as you said, the fact that we see so much, it's like a trip throughout the world, you know, watching what's happening in that small area of New York, and this is, we're not, I think, very used to American comedies that go that path, and also the characters are not really extreme as we would find them in regular comedies, yet they are so typical of reality that it makes it really funny to see them interact in situation of their comfort zone, etc. So people can understand that, you know, it's very we could feel that watching the movie. But I'd like to ask also a question. Earlier, I think, Jos, you said that you were a tango dancer, and then you learned how to dance like a rabbi. Is that so? You did the reverse?
No, you know, I lived in Argentina many years. Well, I'm from Egypt originally, but I lived in Argentina, and tango is in my blood. I mean, I was watching tango all my life, and I never got into it actually until later years. But I've been dancing tango for many years now. Wherever I go, I carry my tango shoes. It's my tool, and there's tango everywhere in the world. You hit Timbuktu tango, New York tango, everywhere I go. I found a tango place, a milonga, a place of social dancing. And the tango is in my blood all my life. The rabbi, that's another story.
No, but it's true. You know, Jos had to take lessons in horror dancing to do the horror dancing scene, because he's really an amateur horror dancer, the character, who then becomes a tango dancer.
Tango dancer, yeah.
And yet my father, was Catholic Italian, was helping Jos at times with certain wording of Yiddish, because Jos is a Sephardic Jew, and they have their own little nuances in the way they word things. So what's amazing is everybody put their stamp on the film, you know?
That's nice. Very collaborative process where people engaged in the film were allowed to bring in, you know, their propositions and their touch, and yeah, I think that made the film even richer, you know, than if it were done maybe with the only single-minded, single-view type of yeah. But I meant also to ask you about you know, how did the shooting how was it? How long did it take? What were the challenges of? Did you have any big challenges in terms of budget, in terms of timing?
Well, the craziest thing that we experienced was and very painful is my father got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. He's a lead in the film.
Yeah.
And we realized we have to shoot out his scenes as quick as possible, but his health started deteriorating. So we realized that what we should do is time the shooting in between chemo and radiation therapy. So we ended up having to shoot a lot of the scenes, especially the dance scene finales, in Los Angeles, because we had to follow my father wherever he was doing his chemotherapy. And what ended up happening is it took us longer to finish the film. And that's what helped the film, strangely enough, because as you know, even in a major studio film, you have a very tight schedule. They even call it the sausage factory in Hollywood, where you have to just put the movie together as quick as possible. So when you're physically forced to take more time, you can fill in the blanks and add new elements to the script. And like, you know, Judy would come up with an idea of her character for a scene, and Jose would have an idea for his character, and we would constantly add that as well. So we ended up having a very, very solid film in the end. And it also helped us in the music. We spent a lot more time. Like, for example, there are some elements where we rescored to picture because the raising of an eyebrow, a glance, a kick, all had their own musical hits to it, which added to the passion of the tango and the storytelling.
But you tell me, you're talking about the scoring, that wasn't done way after in post, or was it?
Well, you know, so often, you know, in a dance film, you play the music as playback, and you write and then record the music, and then people dance to it, which is what we did. But what we ended up realizing is in post-production that there was a whole other element to the film that we never thought about, that it's actually sexy, that two people who can't even touch doing this tango, there's something very forbidden fruit about it. And we realized we needed to keep the passion growing as the scenes progressed, as the dance scenes got more and more intricate. So we ended up having to recompose, rescore the film. And we literally had people, musicians in Athens, in Buenos Aires, in Barcelona, all over the world contributing to this fantastic soundtrack. So yes, we'll have about 600 musical hits. And at the same token, we also have score. So you have source music, which is the actual songs that we redid at times. And then we put in a score. And the composers are brilliant. One of them is my wife, so I'm not biased, Zizi Bologna, and a virtuosa accordion player named Zoe Tiganouri, who's actually very well known in Morocco as well. She plays all over the world, who's Greek. And they added something even extra to the film, which is this Balkan type feel, you know, this klezmer type element to the tango. And many people don't know this, but tango was once considered in Europe a Jewish art form. In fact, Hitler outlawed it because he said it, you know, wasn't proper Aryan music. And there were all these Yiddish songs in tango that we would bring back into the film. So there was this cross-cultural element that went through so many levels in the film. And then it all had to have one sonic tapestry. It had to all fit together in its own sense of being. For example, God has a theme in the film, because who is not to say that God himself is not telling Moshe Yehuda to dance the tango in a competition to save his Hebrew school? Who's to say God is not telling him that he needs to be friends with this imam who's going to help him figure out a way to dance the tango and not touch a woman? Who's to say God is not telling him to be friends with the Sikh holy man and the priest, bringing all these cultures together, right? So God comes out in the form of, there's a rainstorm and the clouds appear, or suddenly he hears tango music in the distance and he turns his head. So God himself is propelling Moshe on his journey, which is another theme in the music. So this movie was such a grand undertaking just from a musical standpoint, let alone the fact that we had all these different cultures in it.
Yeah, well, I agree with you, and I think that what gives it all this depth. As you said, the fact that Moshe could not find help among his community and had to go on this journey where he met these people who normally wouldn't deal with, but he would get through them some insight on what God is expecting from him, because any religious man is asking basically this question: what does God want from me? You know, this is a question that a religious man asks himself, and therefore he went to find these answers in the most unusual manner, with the most unusual people for him. Yet it worked, and the principle that to do things while keeping the basic principles, his principles, is it's a wonderful idea that we saw at work but people relate to that principle, you know, how to live with our moral, our principles, and still do things that we want to do, you know.
Yeah, we live in a modern world, right, where we now have to make decisions based on books that were written thousands of years ago, and everybody can relate to that who is a person of faith. And it's interesting, we had a Sikh consultant who talked about the scene when the mother is crying that her Hasidic son shaved his beard. He said, you know, we have a big problem in the Sikh community. A lot of Sikhs are shaving their beard, and we're saying, are they really Sikh, you know? And here we have the imam who totally identifies with Rabbi Moshe Yehuda about you can't touch a woman in dance, you know? And it turns out that religion perhaps is something that can bring us closer to each other, and we can identify with each other's problems more, perhaps through religion, than the other way around.
Yeah. When religion is understood in terms of tolerance, in terms of rules that we apply to ourselves, not to others, and therefore we're curious. We're curious about what the others apply to themselves, and this exchange can be usually very fruitful. Understanding how the experience of the other, religious experience the other has, and what we have, and relating to all these things. I think, yeah, there is a very nice chemistry there that takes place once we start going in this path. But I also saw so much richness in the situations, and now, as you explained, time was on your side. You were able, and it's a sad situation where your father was sick, but at the same time, it's he by being sick, he gave to this project also a gift, the time to be made in a way that is better than those fast food type of comedies that they don't have the time to breathe. The film, we see the film breathing while we're watching it, and I had this feeling that it's and it's probably because, as you said, you took the time you needed, but also the talent, your talent, and the talent of all these wonderful actors that you had, because you had a lot of very, very good actors around you to perform.
Oh yeah, there were times that the crew and myself were laughing in the background. It was so funny. I had to cut out my own laughter, and we're just happy to really share this movie with people before it's going to be in theaters everywhere, before it's going to be on streaming services. It's really nice to get feedback. We're not expecting all these interfaith organizations to endorse us, but there's like a laundry list of all these interfaith organizations that have endorsed us, and we just set out to make people laugh, but it turns out we're doing a bit more.
Yeah, but let me ask you, basically now, in what process are you with this film? It's been done, it has participated in festivals, or it is in the process of participating?
Yeah, we started the film festival route, I'd say about 4 months ago, and distributors are contacting us now, and pretty soon this movie will be seen by the world.
Okay.
We really wanted to show the film to people that were often not able to see films, independent films. We went out of our way to make sure to get the film into festivals that wouldn't, Morocco, India, they may not get an American film there. In fact, we were the only American film at this Jaipur Film Festival. And actually, we had our premiere there, the first film festival we went into. So it's just exciting to hear people reaching out. Someone from Argentina just, wrote us on YouTube. We're so excited that you're screening, in the Buenos Aires Film Festival. And, that's the thing with comedies. Comedies often don't do the film festival circuit. They're their own breed, but because it's such a kind of unique comedy, that it's a dance comedy, an interfaith comedy, right? We thought we should share it.
Well, I'm glad you had this thought, because as you saying, it is in many ways a universal film, because of the place of music in it, because of religion, and religion is a big theme throughout the world, whether we agree with it or not. It is something that everyone talks about all over, because it is a comedy, and it is a comedy, and that's also something I think I don't know how you were able to manage that, because problem with comedy is that is rooted, in most cases, is very much rooted in local culture. and sometimes local culture is not very well understood by other local cultures. For example, you make a joke in New York, maybe a French guy would not get it, you know, or the reverse is also true, you know. But in this movie, because the comedy was based on situations, on the more on emotions, we were able to laugh without having to get the cultural point, you know, which is it becomes obvious when it deals with the matter, deals with the emotions and deals with the situations that are pretty much universal, you know.
Well,
So,
Rabbi Yehuda is a character that a lot of people can get identify with. He's the person in the family whose job is to fix everyone's problems. He may have not asked for it. Maybe it's because he's a rabbi, but everyone unloads on him, right? So Claudio, who plays his brother Rahamin, which is also a Arab name, I just learned.
yeah.
He is really dumping on his brother to try and get him to give him money for his wedding, right? And I love the exchange when the character Moshe finally says, you know what? To all his friends, to all his family members, I need help. And the holy men are the ones that help him on that journey to say, you know what? It's okay to ask for help, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of holy men do have this feeling that, you know, maybe I'm not enough, you know, because my job is for everyone else. My job is for the flock, the congregation, the family, you know, but what about me? You know, and I think everyone else can relate to that, you know,
Yeah.
and I think that's another fun element about why there are so many characters in this film, because we do know that family is the most important thing in the world, but it's the one thing that can drive you crazy, you know, and we've all been there.
Yeah, I agree. And as a matter of fact, the inner conflict of Moshe was also something that made the movie even stronger. The see him coming out with this, finally admitting to the word, well, his word, that he needed help. He's not as strong as they all think he is, and
he's got the hardest problem to solve in the entire world. And it's a miracle that he even gets it accomplished. No, I'm not going to give any spoilers on how he figures out a way to dance with a woman in a contest without touching her. But yeah, we've all had this issue in our lives, some monumental, sisyphistic, colossal problem that just does not seem to have any solution. We've all been there. A brick wall, right? A one-way street to a brick wall. We've all been there.
Yeah. Well, what other thoughts could we? I don't know if we covered most of the ideas we were going to talk about this film, but maybe the film is so rich that maybe we forgot something that later on we'll say, we should have talked about such thing.
Well, I would like to say maybe a word on some things. I think generally the movie is a feel-good movie. All right, it's somebody who is having a bad day, sees this movie, maybe he'll feel better, right? Or she feel better. You know, we hope for that. We hope that. You know, we also hope that there will be a message of kindness, that we can be kind to each other. All right, and I think that's very essential of the film. There are the 7 laws of Noahid, which are in the major religions. A lot of them, like thou shalt not kill, you know, and so forth and so on. And this is common. This was given 2,000 years prior to the Jews getting the Torah to everyone. And we feel that the human race is a chosen people. You know, I personally think that the reason why the Almighty gave this is because the human race is the chosen people, and they need to somehow live together and learn from each other and share some positivity, you know, and in good faith towards each other, and tolerate our differences and maybe nurture our commonalities. So I think that's a very important message of this film, is that hopefully a lot of people will love our film. And so far, a lot of people have, from different faiths, different religions. Some people might not understand the messages. Some people might, whatever, have their own ideas. The main thing is that every human being is part of the human race, and that there is no other, really. The other is basically made once we have a wall between us and the other, and the wall can be anything. Could be either education or the way we suffered. Everybody in the world suffered. Every country has suffered. Every country in the world has made mistakes. Every human being has made mistakes, and so forth and so on. Right now, what we want is to really go forward and open doors of dialogue between people, and see if we can somehow connect with people because they're suffering, you know, or they were suffering, or their ancestors suffered, you know, and we can connect with them and not blame people. Once you start blaming people, then you're making the other, all right, and then we are become the quote unquote chosen people, and then they're the other. Bottom line, we need to try to somehow to inspire people through our movie, because it's one way that we're doing it, that people who are into peace, to inspire them to create, to be creative, to connect with people who maybe might not talk to us because of who we are, you know, but maybe they can talk with them, and then maybe they can put in some kind of positivity to kind of have a change, a quantum change in the human consciousness, so that we can raise the level of social human consciousness and have a peace all over the world. Right now, the world needs to worry about what's happening to the world, the environment, you know, the water. People need minimum water. People need minimum food. People need minimum shelter, you know, and I think that's what we need to connect with, and to kind of help each other. It's a shame what's happening in India. The people are dying because of COVID. We got to try to help them. It's a shame for people dying in the Middle East, no matter where you come from, whether it be Palestine or Israel. It's a shame that people have to die for this situation. So we need to go farther. We need to raise higher. We not go to this vicious cycles that we've been doing throughout civilizations. And that's the message of, I'm hoping that this movie will inspire people and will entertain people and have a good time with it.
Yeah, well, entertaining is very good way to teach wisdom. And as you said, to be the other is also should be a friend or brother. You know, the other should be that, and this is what this movie is telling us. You know, the other is a friend, is a brother. And last question: who had this idea of the banana? The banana that was the last thing that we saw in the movie, and it was very it was funny, yet had a lot of wisdom in it.
I wanted to know that too.
Guess who? Anybody guess?
Just
No?
Claudia. Gabe.
Mwah.
Oh, great. Well,
But that could be a spoiler. You know, let's leave that. You know.
Yeah, but you know what? We didn't say what the banana has to do with the film, so it's not a spoiler.
Claudia, there could be an
The
apple.
banana desperately needs to be explored for religious reasons, for comedy reasons, because it is such a unique and fun way that the movie ends.
Yeah.
And yes, it has to do with a banana.
Judy, what do you think about the banana?
What? What'd you say?
What do you think about the banana?
I love the banana.
On that note, okay.
Be very
Yeah.
banana can be very sweet.
Yeah. Well,
By
guys,
the
thank
way-
you so much.
by the way,
for...
By the way, I miss couscous.
You do miss couscous.
Ah,
Well,
yeah.
I think that you can find it in New York. New York is a place
Yeah.
where
Oh,
you
yeah.
can find anything in the world.
I used to celebrate my birthdays, and I used to cook for over 40 people couscous with harissa.
Ah.
Harissa. Yeah, I love it.
You cooked it? You cooked it?
I cooked it, of course.
Wow. And harissa, Tunisian harissa. Harissa is Tunisian
You
hot
know,
sauce.
you know,
And we hope to join you there one day in person.
Hey,
Exactly.
we'll make sure next time we have we'll invite you guys. Next time we have the festival normally, with
In
not like
person.
this online,
that would be
We'll,
special. Very
Sounds good.
special.
Sounds good.
We're Rabat-Comedy is trying to be a hub for everyone, the professionals mainly that are interested in comedy, but with just like your film, with a comedy as a universal language to pass on wisdom, information, whatever, and because we found that a lot of comedy festivals are a bit too local, too turned on just the culture, the local culture, and we are trying to do the opposite. We are trying to bring in, from all the countries, good movies, and try to bring professionals maybe to talk about the comedy and how to make comedies better. Because we feel that comedy is a great within the cinema world. It's a great tool to pass on messages and to just entertain, as you said very well, the people. And the last question I meant to ask, what are you up to, guys, Gabriel, in terms of your future projects, and also the production company, because production company is probably also working on some new projects, just to know.
My wife and I opened a production company in Greece, and we hope to get a lot of films off the ground there. Greece has, I think, the best of all tax incentives for filming in the world, and this is all new. So we're actually moving to Greece, and Jose and Claudia will be visiting us.
And me too.
Judy as well, and the whole cast.
That's great. This is.
By the way, my Big Fat Greek Wedding 3 is being shot in Greece as well, that Lainey Kazan from our film is starring in.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that movie, but I'll look for it.
And what is Renee Taylor doing? What's Renee Taylor doing?
I'll just pop in real quick because I got to get off. I'm working on right now a film right now where we're in the process of shooting this period piece that I'm acting in and producing, and also I'm directing a documentary about my mother, who was a hidden child in the Holocaust, and so I've been working on that right now, and I'm in a TV series in France called La Garçon.
It's great to hear all these things because this is typical from independent filmmakers. Everyone is doing so many incredible projects, and they're so different from one to another. You don't get this in the studio business. There's so much variety.
I'm gonna pop off. It was so beautiful to meet you, and thank you so much, because we have to keep shooting here.
Okay. All right.
Bye.
Bye now.
Hello.
Thanks. And all right. And
Yeah. So Gabriel Bologna, did he leave?
No, I'm here.
Yeah. Maybe you could talk about what Renee is doing. Is there anything that Renee is doing?
Well, her show, The Nanny, just dropped on HBO Plus. I don't know if
HBO Max.
HBO Max, she's doing a Broadway show about Mae West. What else is going on?
Okay. Just
Well, that's a lot.
I'm
How about
shooting
in terms of production for you guys? You are in the production, basically, also producing.
yes. Joyce, you want to say something?
Yeah. Well, basically, we're gonna do Tango Shalom 2 in Greece with the
Yeah,
production
sounds good to
company.
me.
I'm writing a script actually, which is gonna be shot in Morocco. I'm gonna keep
Great.
you posted on that. Okay, I
Yeah.
can't tell too much about it, but it's interesting. It has to do with the same topic, but no tango in this one.
Oh, okay, something else. Well, I think you'd come to the right country, not only for if you were to shoot here, but also because of the heritage we have here, the Jewish heritage is. And as a matter of fact, I myself, I wrote. Well, I'm writing a script on also a story that involves this heritage, Jewish. Islamic heritage, a story starting in Andalusia and then finishing in Andalusia or passing through Morocco. And there is a lot to tell also in this part of the world about that heritage.
Yeah, you know, Napoleon said Africa starts at the Pyrenees.
That's interesting.
It's interesting that you're saying about Andalusia. Well, our movie was also accepted to the Madrid International Film Festival and as well as Spain. And our family, the Lanialo families, were originally from Spain, from that region. And then they moved to Italy, then Greece, Turkey. So we have Spanish, Italian, Turkish, Greek, and Syrian and Tunisian background. So we're a mixed people, you know. And it's interesting you say Andalusia. And we lived in Argentina, of course, like Joe said, and we speak Spanish. So in terms of the project that I'm working on right now, I'm focusing right now on Tango Shalom to make sure that we get distributors and working on all the festivals and all that. So I'm very busy with that right now. But I'm hoping to relax once we get picked up real soon by this big time distributor. We're hoping to give you good news real soon. But otherwise, I did start writing a script on a serial killer. And you know, one of my things that I do, I'm a psychiatrist, and I've worked in state hospitals before, and I'm familiar with all kinds of mental illness. So that is my strong aspect in terms of my education, and plus the worldly experience I had. That I want to write a script about a serial killer that I want to talk about. It's not going to be a horror movie. It's going to be hopefully something good, something worthy of writing and acting in, and also with a message.
So why do you want to quit psychiatry? You said.
Oh yeah, because psychiatry is driving me nuts. Yeah. So that's the story. That's about me, and you know, I'm hoping to do more character work. I've been in a movie called Mudbound, which was a 4-time Oscar-nominated film, Mudbound, about racial discrimination in the South, and I played Dr. Perlman, an Austrian Jewish doctor in that film. I had a scene with Mary J. Blige, the famous singer, pop singer.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm hoping to get more and more work like that, you know, through the fact that our movie has been exposed, and that's it. And you know, just trying to stay healthy, and continue to be loving and kind as best as I can with my neighbors everywhere, or whoever I meet, and help people. So that's my project right there.
That's great. Josh, still doing tango, still practicing, or?
Well, it's hard now because the social milongas are closed because of the COVID, but I think soon they're gonna start. But they have now online sometimes, which I don't really like online, because listen, tango, I gotta, connect somehow with or without.
That's great. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for this hour we spent together, and we'll probably edit a little bit the discussion so that it takes a little less time to people, when they want to see something on VOD, they don't want to spend too much time. It's not like the live thing, but it was great for me to interview you and to hear all these wonderful stories that you had to tell about this movie, and about your experiences. Each one's experience is just incredible, and hopefully we'll get to meet some soon. I hope in a way or another.
Yeah, we hope that Africa, the MENA countries, and Israel can see this movie. So hopefully they'll be able to connect with you.
You can count on me if you need distribution in Morocco. I didn't maybe mention that, but I'm a producer myself, and I'm a director, movie and screenwriter, and I know people in the industry here. So if you wanna, you or the distributor, you have international distributor wants to be connected to the distributors in Morocco, I'll be very happy to introduce them and tell them about the film, which will interest people here also. Huh?
Yeah, feel free. We can talk about that. And later on after the
festival.
Yeah, we can talk about that anytime you want. Anytime you want.
All right.
Shukran, Shakir.
Shukran. Thank you so much.
Merci beaucoup. Muchas gracias por todo. Paz.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci. Au revoir.
All right, au revoir. À la prochaine.
Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.